The world still has a shortage of tech skills. Currently, we have about 4.8 million globally unfilled jobs that are in the tech space.
4.8 million roles that need human beings to fill them.
Exactly. Not AI tool, human beings. But
Wow.
Unfortunately, you sit down and you take a pulse check on what's going on in the country right now. Nigeria, especially with its really, really young population, the youths need something to believe in.
What kind of skills are you currently training people?
Core skill, that's what our program is structured around. We have AI, ML, cloud computing, machine learning. There is
Even as you mentioned them, I actually see that they are highly specialized technical skills that are quite in demand. I don't have a laptop, I don't have a phone. How are you guys solving device poverty?
with devices. So what we've been able to do, also in partnership with MTN, MTN has also donated Raspberry Pi board. Like most of the ALCs, they have systems in there, so that helps fellows. So
that's what those guys raided in Kano, I think.
yes, actually, they took laptops, they took everything, right? They took everything,
even the doorknob.
like every single thing. But
Thank you very much for joining us today. Today's conversation is with a dear friend of mine who is leading comms, in one of our nation's most pivotal platforms right now. I believe it's a platform that's going to drive national transformation. And I felt a lot of people have been speaking about it, and it would be good to have a conversation with her to discuss the impact that this can have on Nigeria, and this can have generally on the world, because I consider Nigeria a trigger, to the African continent, and whatever starts out from here spreads across the world. So today's episode actually is going to be very insightful, very educative. She's actually a very fun person to talk to, very interesting. So join me, welcome the one and only Aaliyah Tawasimi. Aaliyah, you're welcome.
thank you so much, Elijah. Thank you. I am happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I was very excited with this episode because I felt like the 3MTT framework that has been designed by the Honorable Minister is something that has been very interesting to me, because I play in the intersection of media and technology.
Yeah.
And I think, but basically, the key thing is I always like to say, you people want to get 3 million technically trained talents in AI. Well, most of the time they say AI, so demystify it for us.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to first off start by saying that, please, all the opinions here are mine. Are mine alone.
Okay.
I am not representing the thoughts of anyone else, but however, I am coming here with facts and things that I have to say about the program, my experience with running the communications
tell me
program.
about it. Yeah.
So, actually, 3MTT is 3 million technical talent. So we have this very ambitious dream of training 3 million people, young Nigerians, some old as well, on technical skills that are important for the fourth industrial revolution. So basically,
what's the fourth industrial revolution?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. So basically, the fourth industrial revolution is basically bringing us to an era where things are moved and led by technology, right? Digital technology, where we see a change in people going from their phones to like AI tools. You're going from your phones, from building systems around just Microsoft, building systems around OpenAI. It's basically equipping the next generation as well with tools that we need to move away from just your traditional brick and mortar systems to actual digital systems that require and decentralize just progress, right?
Okay.
That's one way to look at it. So it's a lot, it's massive. And the tools that we need, as in the past, right, Africa was left behind because we experienced things around that imbalance with how growth was, right? From our pre-colonial pre-colonial eras where we had where we had to go through you go to school, you learn, you come out, your job is working as a doctor, an engineer, or a what's the last one? There's always three, lawyer, exactly. And now we're moving from that to a system where people are now being programmers, they're being prompt engineers, they are working in the AI technology and in the they are working in the technology space, right? So it's Now we have tech skills. Now we have skills that are leveling the field, the playing field, where people in Nigeria have the same technology and knowledge as people in India, Europe, America, and like the likes of it. So, yeah. So
you're basically building skills for this fourth industrial revolution that's currently ongoing or in its nascent stages.
Yeah, so the fourth industrial revolution, I think, has been ongoing since about, let's say, or the idea of it has been ongoing since about the early 2010s, thereabouts. I mean, there was the industrial revolution, there was the technology revolution, and then like right now we're really going into it. And basically, for what we're trying to do with 3MTT is saying we've identified the fact that in the coming years, we're going to have at least 30 million people in the workforce. And in fact, currently we have about 4.8 million globally on field jobs that are in the tech space. On field jobs, right? That are in the tech space.
So you have 4.8 million roles that need human beings to fill them.
Exactly. Not AI tools, not technology, not robots and everything, human beings. But unfortunately, the world still has a shortage of tech skills, as crazy as it seems, right?
Yeah, because I would have thought that like everybody now is into tech, so what do we need more people?
It's actually not like that. And where we are also heading is the fact that like with the amount of people we have in the world and the amount of jobs and roles in the tech space that needs to be filled, the way the world is going, Nigeria also, in fact, Africa has the youngest population right now in the entire world, right? On a daily basis, people are going and they are traveling and they are japping, and we still have a lot of people left, right? And
I think I saw a statistic that said the total of Nigerians outside Nigeria is not even more than 3 or 5 million, something like that. I saw that statistic and I don't know how true it is, but it was a bit
We've
shocking.
Always had a problem with statistics, so I don't know how true that would be, but it would be interesting to see the actual.
But I don't think it should be more than 10 though.
10 million?
Yes, I don't even think it should be.
For how long? What's the duration, the period?
Like currently, like.
I feel like we have a lot of people who are like first and second generation Nigerians who are living in the diaspora, because on a daily basis we have people leave, right? But and why are they leaving? Because
but how many people do you think can leave the country, really? Like, can we even say we have like 1 million people that have jackpot in the last 5 years?
Yes, definitely.
1 million people?
Yeah. It might be, so jackpot to where? Are you looking at America?
No, not
necessarily. Yes, definitely.
Like out of the country, I mean, it's not necessarily.
I think people just going to Ghana alone, going to Sierra Leone, going to like African countries. Yes, people do, actually. I know quite a number of people who will gladly move to Ghana to live.
You know what, in fact, while we're on this conversation, you know what, help me check that data. How many Nigerians have actually emigrated out of Nigeria?
I'm quite curious.
To know that data, right? Because I mean, because I think sometimes we overestimate these things because of how often. Because first of all, the emigration out of the country is based on at least the top three. At least, I mean, so you kind of need to even have some level of financial.
Yes, this is especially now
capability,
actually.
right?
That's very, very.
Nobody's just collecting you, and also to those countries don't want the bottom of the pile. They want like the top of any country, right? So
this is very true as well. Like you see that you find people who are. So it's two things, the thing of luck and the thing of skill, right? It's either you are very lucky enough to be positioned at a point where you are able to leave, or people are specifically looking for skills that you possess and they are opening up their countries to bring you in. It will be easier for us to have the statistics from all these other countries to see how many Nigerians they let in than how many people have actually left.
What do you have there? They say in the last 2 years, 3.6 million Nigeria. No, they've left the country. Does not mean they've jackpot actually.
So that's definitely a statistic that we should actually like think about.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's a statistic, right? Okay, so but they say United States is the most popular destination for Nigerian migrants, with an estimated 252,000 Nigerian migrants living there in 2013. That's 2013 though. So I mean, give or take, you have a few millions. I'm sure you have a few millions.
Yeah.
But I mean, you say there are 4.8 million on-field technical roles
across the world right now.
Wow.
I mean, you can imagine already. And so looking at that, right, you realize that Africa with its really young population, and Nigeria especially with its really, really young population, the youths need something to believe in. They need something that they can channel their energy and their thoughts into. You sit down and you take a pulse check on what's going on in the country right now. You realize that there are young people who are investing their time, their brain, their energy in things that are not beneficial. I mean, look at Yahoo, for instance, right? Like, there's a system in place to train. So, you know how, like, people get to a point where you've reached the peak, you now become an oga, and you now recruit, and then you train those people, and then they the cycle continues. And literally, right, they use the same model of catching them young. And
for like cybercrime.
Yes, that's how it's actually done, right? Like, you recruit people, you bring them in, you take them through training, they have their first gig, their first job, and
their first manga.
And then, like, you start small, there are different levels of frauds as well. So you start very small, and then you work your way up until you are ready to now become your own individual self. And this is a cycle that exists. If a system for this kind of organized crime exists, then why don't we have a system for actually training people to do good, right?
And that's what TREMTT is doing.
That's what TREMTT is.
So, but what kind of skills are you currently training people on?
So we have currently about 12 skills right now that we are training people on. The core skill, that's what our program is structured around, right? And we have AI, ML, cloud computing, cybersecurity,
what is AI, ML?
Artificial intelligence, and machine learning.
Okay.
So we're training people on that. There is DevOps, there is what's the name of this one? Software engineering, UX, UI, animation too. Like, we've had quite interesting submissions from animations as well. And then we have, I can't list everything right now.
Yes, but
cybersecurity as well.
But I mean, I think even as you mentioned them, I actually see that they are highly specialized technical skills that are quite in demand, because all of those roles that you mentioned, I can even think of myself needing people from that particular system within my organization.
Interestingly, right, you'll be shocked to see the high, like right now, so like we say, data doesn't lie, right? And when we even look at like the courses with the highest number of fellows, like per cohort, right, we realize, like, in fact, take a wild guess, what would you think has the highest number of fellows right now? Like, that
among all the courses that you just mentioned?
Yeah.
I would say maybe software development.
Yeah, actually, you're right. And the second, so we have about 20K in total in software development, 20K in total in like cybersecurity alone.
20,000 people enrolled in
just software development and cybersecurity, right?
And this program is free, right?
Yes, absolutely free. I think. Okay, so let me even just go down to the breakdown of how we're even going about it, right? So we've structured the framework of the program currently to take 3 million people. We've broken it down to say we can't do it all at once, right? So it has to be a phased approach. Broken it down to 3 phases. The prototype phase, where we test out and we know that, like, okay, this is what works, this doesn't work, and then, validate some of the ideas and everything, test the product, all of that. Then the pilot phase, which is now broken down into 3 different phases. We have cohorts per phase. So first cohort is 30K people, pilot phase. Second cohort is 60K people, which we're literally just rounding up. In fact, like in the next few days, we will be having our cohort 2 graduation. And
wow.
Basically
how many people are in cohorts 1 and cohort 2?
Officially, we have trained over 60,000 people in cohort 2. The number is rising, actually, but we've trained over 60,000 people, right? Once we go into graduations and everything, that number might fluctuate just because, like, people need to finish at its particular time, but we've actually trained over 60,000 people. And cohort 3, which we're going into in December, we are starting the orientations and everything. We're training 90,000 people, right?
In cohort 3. So it's almost like you're tripling the number.
Well, so to say, yes. So by the time we're done with cohort 2, 3, and 4, we should have trained about 270,000 people.
Wow.
And this is just our pilot phase, right?
Oh, okay.
By the time we are now done with cohort 4, we've tested, seen what works, see what doesn't work, and then we now get into the skill phase. And I think for the next year, we're really trying to see how best we can go through cohort 2, 3, and 4 actually, and, complete and then scale, right? And the program runs for 3 months, and then fellows get the opportunities to have access to jobs and have access to micro jobs, gigs, placements, and and tasks, so they can hop on. So currently we've partnered with the likes of like UNDP, Awari, the first learning language model made in Nigeria. We've partnered with them on. In fact, I think we're partnering with them again, and they're like hiring fellows to work on the projects short term, but and they've been very, very amazing, right? The fellows that we've placed, we've gotten great feedback from these people telling us, look, you people have given us great talent, right? And some of them have been retained, some of them have been posted to different places. The impact is telling. We're seeing results immediately. Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the mode of delivery of this trainings currently? I would assume it's digital, right?
Yeah, so it's a mix, right? Okay. It's digital and physical. So we have an online learning model, learning platform where our portal to which they have access to free foundational learning courses that they can access for any of the courses that they are taking. And then we have partnerships with Coursera, Udemy, and ALX, and basically they have access to all these courses on these different platforms for free, and they get their certification for free as well. We also have, in partnership with IHS, there's also a learning academy that they can go through and get certified as well. And then once they are done with these foundational learnings, they now go into the physical element where they go specifically to we call them the applied learning clusters, but these are training centers we're currently present in almost all local governments in the country right now. In fact, we're currently expanding to newer local governments, right? But we're in every state in the country. And we have ALCs, these applied learning clusters, in each of these
local governments.
Yes, local governments. And basically it's that wherever you're based, you go to your ALC every week for 12 weeks to engage with learning in the different track that you're on, as well as interacting with other fellows in the program, right? And, while you're on that program as well, they train you, they help you out. So we don't, it's absolutely free. You don't pay at any of these ALCs. You don't pay to learn. You go through the 12 weeks completely. You get your certificate, and, you go into the tech world, right? And it's been literally mind-blowing just seeing the transformation from a lot of fellows. I like to say this is literally zero to tech, right? You have people who go in, and a lot of the feedback we get is, I started this journey not knowing what to expect, but I'm finishing now. I am saying that I'm a proper software engineer. I am an analyst. I'm a this, I'm a that, and it's insane. It's amazing, honestly. I'm mind blown.
Yeah, but what are the greatest challenges you are seeing in also implementing such a program? Have you been received with open arms all the while as you guys go ahead of it? Is there something that you feel if it was better done by the people would make this a better success?
So I think it's just real understanding and adoption, right? Because it's also technology. We have, in total, we've received about, since inception, over 1.7 million applications, right? That's a lot. And, of course, the North has the highest number of applicants, right? Really? And then I think following Abuja, Lagos, and then I think, is it Enugu? And I can't remember the other states, but following through. But the North, Kano especially, has the highest number. But then one of the things that we also face is with the activation and the phased approach, some people can't all start in the first cohorts. So that reactivation to get them involved is one of the things that
What's the reactivation?
So we have people in the pool who are still waiting to get selected and everything. Ooh. And because not everyone. So while they are waiting to be placed in a cohort, right, they are still taking foundational courses, still engaging with the community. They have all the access. They just haven't gone through that applied learning cluster process
yet.
The
physical one.
Yes. but they're learning their foundational courses, they're finishing it and completing it, they're participating in our monthly challenges, weekly reflections, and all of those things.
So do those count as the number of people in your cohorts?
Not yet. So some people have already been
placed in cohorts. So that means you're doing way more than the number, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But officially, because of how we're working our way on our phased approach, it's important that we stick to those numbers still. So some people right now, if they never get placed in a cohort, they are still like actively learning, like based on the content we've just made available for free. So like some people, they probably don't even need to go to an ALC to already, like they've been certified in quite a few number of courses already that we've made available. And yeah, and I think we're seeing the results. So another challenge that I think we're now working our way towards is really getting people placed, right? So now it's a thing. Yes. So I think right now we're building our network of like ecosystem, like builders, ecosystem companies in the ecosystem as well, to trust that, you know, what we're doing is actually like, it's beneficial, right? Because what one of the things that like we've seen is people say, I'm waiting to see how this goes. I'm waiting to see, right? And I think for me, it's a big challenge when I have a conversation with someone in the ecosystem and they're like, yeah, we're just waiting to see what's happening there. It's like, no, engage, right? Like, reach out, talk to us. How can I get some of your fellows, right? Can I want to place these people. I have this job, I have this gig, and we're actually very accessible. You know, you can literally reach out to any of us, the team, our official channels, and say, I would like to hire a fellow, right? What does that entail? Because now that adoption, like, in fact, the main goal is not even training, funny enough. Like, yes, we want to train 3 million people, but it's placing people in jobs. Yeah. Like, the call for us is, how can the work we are doing translate into economic growth? Because very soon, with the way the world is going and with the paradigm shifts that we're experiencing, right, there's going to be a lot of demand from Africa on just talent that can like do the job. Yeah. We've already been doing that, right? Yeah. So now it's creating that outsourcing structure that would allow us, you know, push these people out there in a way that also ties directly into our like economy. And it starts from home, right? Yeah. We really need these companies to start saying, yeah, you know what, instead of hiring abroad, let me see what the fellows are doing. I have the specific need. Let me try them out, right? But people are waiting to see what happens. And if they are waiting to see, then how then do we like get the job done, right? Like, I think for me, the question is now, what do you want for us to convince you that these fellows are? So there has to be good,
like a bridge between industry and the work you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And there has to be that trust too.
Yeah. So it's parties. Really building the trust as well for people to see that look.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my organization will actually do reach out, because we actually do have need for tech talent. But I think something that comes to my mind is, what have you guys seen in terms of also the gender balance around these kind of things?
Do you know, this is such an amazing question, because recently we built a dashboard to just kind of see like what the stats are. And initially, when we first started, I think the gender balance we had about, I'm not sure of the numbers yet, but it was about maybe 60% male or so. Now we're currently sitting at a 48% female and about 52% male. And that is insane.
That's very impressive.
Like, we have women who are constantly like doing this work, right? And a lot of them fall under like the UX UI. We have a lot of women as well in cloud computing. I think we have a lot of women in software and cybersecurity as well. But it's just very interesting to see that breakdown, and even like the states, like the demography of women. We have a lot of women in the north who are actually taking this as well, which, you know, in general, people would be like, oh, really? Like, people are actually going to school, or not, well, it's not school, but they're going out to find skills that they feel like they need, and they're actually finishing the courses. Like, it's crazy. I remember recently when the Honorable Minister went to Kano to check out one of the defaced, vandalized. That. If you see the pictures there were a lot of women there who were literally giving feedback and telling him, thank you so much for what you've done, right? And these are fellows. These are people who have gone through the program. So, like, gender-wise, like, yeah, we have quite a very interesting balance of gender. And I'm so proud of that, because, like, even the program also, we've seen contributions, and we've seen persons with disabilities as well, taking the program. Recently, one of the knowledge showcase submissions, I saw a submission from a girl called, I think, Betty or so, and she, I'll have to confirm, but she created a sign language learning model. And it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's
like
amazing.
An AI learning model.
Yes, and it's video. It uses so like she's literally signing, and I think she's using Nigerian sign language because it's actually different from American and
oh really?
Yes, and the English. There are different forms of sign languages. So I know people in America. I think one or two people have done something similar, but for someone to do that in our program, right, to get to that point, right, for us,
she created like a sign language learning model that can help people communicate in sign language.
Yes. So you just sign, and then it can turn like sign to speech or sign to text. And in my mind, I'm like, even if she doesn't get a job, this is something that she can build as an entrepreneur.
I mean, that's a business already.
That's a business already.
Like that would automatically be something that can even be sold as an API to organizations.
Exactly. So we're getting there. I mean, like, and this is just one out of so many submissions. One person is building a tool to help identify cholera outbreaks. You have other people building tools to help them. One person was to determine the fuel fluctuations. Another person created trackers for mental health as well. So you name it. Like, we have people building from different facets of life.
So beyond just having employability talent, you're also seeing people building economic tools.
Yeah.
Like things that resolve market frictions.
Yeah, exactly. And what we try to do is actually we push them in that direction, right? So we have this monthly like knowledge showcase where we tell them, look, pick a solution, pick a problem that is in your community, right? And create a solution for it and submit it, right? So you create, using your learnings from like the program, you create a solution that solves that problem. And then, if possible, if you want to go a step further and build a model, like a business model for it, cool. But create that solution and showcase it. And these are where like we get these submissions from. So you have people actively thinking about how to create solutions to problems that they are facing internally. And this has been in the general tech ecosystem, right? This has been the conversation, right? How do we solve real life African problems by Africans, right? It's not you going to Stanford and doing all of that and coming back here. It's you living in the community and seeing where it pinches you.
Yeah.
And now these people are building it, right? And like, what do we do with that, right? How do we get them to that point now where people say, all right, I've seen one or two solutions. I want to be able to invest in this. Or I see this person working this way and I'm working this way. Bring them, absorb them into my organization and get them to actually work for you, right? These are just like how we're thinking about like these kind of like issues.
To what extent do you think AI will play like a major contribution to our national development or to the development of our workforce?
I think that artificial intelligence is an inevitable. It is an inevitable future.
Yeah.
Right. We cannot sit down and just look at it and say, what are we doing? We've received a lot of criticism.
That's why I brought it up, because I think the criticisms were around whether we should be in that race or not, and we should be in that conversation or not.
Seeing the amount of technology, like talents that we have in our country that are even on their own, literally actively participating in this industry, it doesn't make sense why we shouldn't, right? Because you sit down and you think about it, right? Like, with the way technology is going, artificial intelligence is the next step. It's not an avoidable, like, we can't avoid it and say, oh yeah, I'll just decide to sit down. It is literally a tool, just like how technology was a tool to getting us to this point. It's a tool to getting us to the next point. And the sooner we embrace it, the sooner we start to understand it, right? AI, I think it's very important that people understand that AI is not what you see on TikTok where people are participating and doing like robots. It is not just about like ChatGPT even. Like, ChatGPT is the easiest application of what AI is. But when you go deeper and you try and understand what machine learning does, you realize that you can predict economic downfalls. You can predict changes in You can predict changes in the weather. You can predict so many things by understanding what AI is able to do, right? And that's just one use case, right? AI also has that ability to learn with the access to so much data faster than we as humans can, faster than your average computer can. And we're getting to that point where literally we're playing a catch-up game, right? And AI has allowed us that leveling field where Nigeria and any other African country that is interested in actually investing in this can catch up to other places and other countries in the world, and even if possible be the next leaders, the next frontiers, right? Like if we invest enough in that industry and we now let it run itself, because that's the thing, if we're not investing in it, right, the people can't do much. Right, there's not much they can do. But if we're able to invest enough in what AI has the ability to do, then you have more intelligent, you have more intelligent contributions. AI becomes more intelligent for us, and it does the work that we need it to do, right? Which is why like companies like Awari is very, very important, because then they are now owning the identity, building what we need, and then using that. Like now it starts to, solve other problems for even people across the world, right? And I think it's very, very important that Nigerians actually do that research.
I was actually listening to the vice president, or is it the president of Microsoft, and he was talking about the fact that AI is actually a general purpose technology, just like electricity was, and it will disrupt every industry.
This is true.
The same way electricity can be used to heat something, it can be used to light a bulb, it can be used to do a whole lot of things. That's actually what AI actually is going to become.
Yeah.
And it's quite exciting, the amount of impact it can make. Two areas I'm very excited about is the area of healthcare and the area of education. Those are two areas I'm very excited about. I know it's going to help a lot, even in the area of financial technology, in the area of quantitative, but even when you are building financial models or quant systems, you need AI. Those things will help you handle a lot of data, because the whole idea of AI is teaching a machine what humans could not necessarily, or what humans could do before, transferring that intelligence, of humans to a particular artificial model. So it's something I'm very excited about, because if we can actually tap into it, we would actually solve a lot of problems, in our communities. And I think it's the great part for Fourth Industrial. So kudos to you guys, for
thank you,
driving that change. But how do you measure impact besides the number of people trained?
Like I said, number of people placed in different companies and organizations, and the number of people that actually go out to start their own ventures, right? We're not just looking for people who are career ready, but people who are entrepreneurship ready, right? Like are you going on to be an innovator? Are you going on to be an entrepreneur, or do you want to work in an organization, right? And there's this level of excellence that we want to be able to have all our fellows embody in everything that they do. But also just so the next phase that we're gearing into as well is making sure that we're able to place fellows in organizations, not just in Nigeria but across the world, right? So it's really an intensive thing for us that we really want to do. So that is another major metric that we use to rate what we're doing. There are so many others, but it's really how many fellows are we training, how many fellows are we placing, right? That's the simplest way to put it. There are other ones that go about it, but these ones have the direct impact to the mandate of the program.
So that means in a couple of months and years that we should be looking out for more outsource opportunities also for them.
Yes, definitely.
From Nigeria.
Yeah, even now we're experiencing those. We've experimented with getting fellows jobs from. So we have a couple of job platforms and placement platforms that we've partnered with. One currently that we're going to announce. We're announcing in a couple of days. Actually today, Luby AI. Luby, Loubby AI, and basically they're coming on board to help us with a jobs board that helps fellows position themselves for jobs, and organizations as well to also place jobs on the platform. And so that's one use case, but we're also trying to see how, we can get these fellows jobs outside the country. We've been getting feedback already. Fellows are doing jobs for people that are based outside and they're getting paid, right? And, it ranges from different amounts, but they are getting paid, and that's the goal, right? Even if it's an entry-level job, entry-level role. And then even just looking at that outsourcing capacity. So it's looking at it and saying, how exactly can Nigeria position herself as India? I think even Philippines at some points, right, are exporting talent, right? So you look at India and its exporting capacity. In fact, what India does is not even necessarily just exporting. Before they get to exporting is importing the jobs while they're... Exactly. And how can we get to that point, right? What did India do, right? What did the Philippines do? And understanding how they are doing that and saying, okay, well, we can't do it the way they did it because our cultural differences, the nuances are different. But we can, that mindset is already set in place, right? So who are the people that need the jobs? Where are the tech companies currently based? What kind of jobs are they looking for? And how can we ensure that our fellows are equipped with skills that would allow them provide jobs or provide solutions to those companies. So that's the direction we're going at. And if there are organizations who feel they have the capacity, they have the jobs, please feel free to reach out to us. Let us know. We can place any of the fellows that you're looking for. We have them. Literally,
we have plenty.
My current campaign right now is hire a fellow. For me, one of my goals is at any point, right, every organization needs a 3MTT fellow. How many companies exist? They should hire a fellow.
So it's quite interesting that you're talking about it, because then again, we're talking about sourcing. Something came up in the news. I don't know if you saw it.
Which one?
Sama, an organization that outsources for TikTok in Kenya, and they were on blast on 60 Minutes on MSNBC. 60 Minutes basically that show.
Is that the one that wasn't paying them the right amount?
Exactly.
I think I saw that news.
That we're collecting maybe $20 or paying them $2. It actually raised some concerns, right?
Yeah.
And I think maybe I'm not even saying that people should necessarily I'm not saying, the whole idea or the whole advantage of outsourcing is basically that you get it cheaper, and you get better talent out there, right? So there has to be some level of savings, be it tax savings.
Yeah.
Because it's still a business those organizations are running that are outsourcing it. So I understand that. However, I think there should be
transparency.
Some form of policy
This is true.
around talent exports, such that we maintain some certain level of sanity, in the entire spectrum. So maybe even for the talents that you are developing as 3MTT, so in various roles and various cadres, there should be some level of benchmark. I think it will help you guys too in your economic impact analysis, in terms of also how much you are trying to develop out of this market and what kind of opportunities that you've created for those people, because I think that will also show more. But I believe strongly that there should be some form of charter that guides, so that it doesn't even become a case like what we did with healthcare.
Yeah.
So healthcare, although people might not say it, but it's the truth. Every medical doctor produced from a federal university in Nigeria, and even maybe more, received subsidized education.
This is true.
It's because the entire university education system is subsidized in some way or the other, right? And we now lose them to global markets, without any sense of account for the amount of investment we've done to them. So I think something that comes to mind is the need for that policy, but then also the need so that it protects the fellows from people trying to pounce on them, but also the need for a way for the fellows to also give back, in terms of causing economic impact with the monies that they are making. Because but then again, I tell some of my young mentees who are getting remote jobs and the rest, I'm like, this money I'm making is $2,000, $3,000 a month. It seems pretty sexy here, but the moment you cross that money is.
That's the thing. It's very, very small.
Yeah, it's
right?
very small. Yeah, so it's better you maintain it here and let it have economic impact here. But I think that's something that comes to my mind when I think about creating such a large pool of talent.
Yeah.
We ensure that we don't also make the mistake that the likes of India or Philippines are made in their early days. Because it's something that bothers me when I saw that study. They say that when they do very well, they'll give them 2 KFC and 1 bottle of Coke.
No. That was a very outrageous thing to witness, really. When I saw it and I'm like interesting. Like I saw it and I was like, wow. And you now wonder, where's the issue, the problem from? Is it from? I think there was also one around, like, is it OpenAI or so? I'm not sure of the organization that they were working with.
Yeah, I'm mistaken. Maybe it's even OpenAI. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like they outsourced the job, right? And for me, like looking at that as well is a thing of like, oh my God, why are we here, right? Like, why is this the situation? And it's actually a very important thing to think about, right? Policies around, I think right now, we're currently even making rounds across the country on the National Digital and E-Governance, National Digital Economy and E-Governance Bill, right? Mm-hmm. And these are one of the things that are also being talked about, right? Like policy. So the thing is, when these things are not properly thought about, people find loopholes and go through the back. And then that's why situations like that you find really, really common, right? Where people get a budget, an amount, and then they change the actual people doing the job. And it's been a thing that has been in existence for time. But if with the work that we're doing with things like the Startup Act and things like the national, the bill, right? It's helping make sure that like these people are being protected, right? Like we're actually having that conversation to protect the people who are in the digital space, digital economy space, who are in the technology space as well. And which is why it's very important for me. This is where I'll say Nigerians, like it's very important for you to read, right? Know your rights, right? Know what you can use to fight for, because it's not just like working for somebody and you're being paid in foreign currency and you don't know like what you're entitled to. You end up putting yourself in more problems than not. But in this situation as well, it's the level of transparency required. Some organizations just don't have it, right? Like if you're a bad organization, you're a bad organization. That one, they are at fault at it. But as a country, and if anything, our responsibility is to make sure that like we're setting the stage for people to have their rights and have the rights to protect themselves in case like any situation like this arises. While, like we can't get involved all the time in any of these problems, but we set the scene for you to be able to operate in a way that is protecting you and your rights, right? And I think that's one way that we can tackle it. But like there are so many organizations that even here in Nigeria, like we have those issues, right? Where someone gets paid for a job and then the actual person doing the job, and it's a thing that
someone else will be
you're getting paid 20K and they are collecting 20 million for the job. Like it doesn't make sense, right? That's such a wide disparity. Yeah. But I think it's very important that we actually have that transparency, right? And if we are going about it the way we're going about it with if we're successful in how we're going about it, that transparency will kind of be woven into the system already, because we've created rules and like laws that help protect the consumer, help protect our citizens as well. So like even as we want to position Nigeria as an outsourcing nation, like we can't, it's going to be cheaper, right? We have to be honest there. Like yes, these are global talents, but it is going to be cheaper because the economy isn't the same as that of America, right? Look at the difference between the dollar and the naira already, right? It will be cheaper. Cost of living is different in both countries, right? But then it's not like, even though it's cheaper, it's still higher than your minimum wage. It's still higher than what you would typically earn from here if you actually did the conversions, right? So it's really thinking about to say, how can we lift the nation? How can we create a new bottom line so that people aren't being cheated, but also people feel like we're actually bringing these jobs here? Because when other nations want to figure out how they are going to go about it, for people it's a cost thing, right? If Nigeria is more affordable than India or Philippines, they'll switch to, yeah. Exactly. So it's now figuring out like that balance to say like the lowest amount possible, but the most value like the right value and like cost between the two, right? I think is something that also worth considering.
I think something that comes to mind when I think about what you just said was the fact that there might also be people who will say, oh, this 3MTT platform, I don't have a laptop, I don't have a phone. How are you guys solving device poverty?
This is a very, very good question. It's still also one of the things that we face as well with a lot of fellows who come onto the program.
I know there's a whole proliferation of technology now.
Yeah.
It's becoming cheaper. More people are having access to smart devices.
Yeah.
But when it comes to even a laptop, it takes it a whole different notch.
So one simple way we have been able to try to solve this, and it's still in its loop, is, so we do have laptops and devices that we gift to fellows, but you have to earn it, in the sense of like, so for instance, the knowledge showcase I talked about earlier, you participate in it, and then we gift out, I think, 50 laptops and 50 ePads to fellows, right? But that's still a small amount compared to the total number of people that we're trying to. So in some other ways as well, we've partnered with some other organization that I think it's called Radar also, for device financing. So fellows can get access to like devices, and then like device financing, and then they can also pay back at some point. But it's still one of the things that like we're trying to solve for, because we do get that feedback a lot when people join the program. And even though we say like, yes, if you're applying, it would be great if you have like a smart device, that would help you go through the program. But then you not think, if someone is starting out zero, right? How, and they've never experienced this before, how on earth, right, do we expect them to get that? And it's still a big challenge out there.
But the ALCs have like devices for them to
use. So most of the time, like most of the ALCs, they have systems in there, so that helps fellows. So
that's what those guys raided in Kano, I think, that time.
Yes, actually, like a lot of the devices there, that they took laptops, they took everything, right? Yeah, they took everything, even the doorknob, like every single thing. And it's quite unfortunate, but luckily for us, one of our partners is coming on board to assist with that as well. I think that's IHS. They're contributing to helping, rebuild that as well. But, when we sit down and think about it, so with devices, so what we've been able to do, also in partnership with MTN has also donated like Raspberry Pi boards for not just 3MTT, yes, for like other like projects the ministry is doing, but they've also like data, right? Like, on a weekly basis, we've given over 310 terabytes in total to fellows.
Whoa.
Right? There are fellows who get 10 gig on a weekly basis constantly, because they go through the weekly reflection. So
courtesy of
MTN.
Wow.
That's MTN has done like, it's solved such a huge problem for us already, because that's one of the biggest complaints also with data, right? So I don't have data, right? There's that. But for devices, if we have an organization who's watching right now who wants to give us, please call me. Like, honestly, like it would really be like seeing how best we can get like partner with organizations who will be willing to give this to fellows as well, is something that we're really trying to, secure. But yeah, it's still a big problem. It's a challenge, actually.
I mean, device poverty is something that I was listening to a conversation, and they were talking about the fact that it's something we are still trying to fix in Africa. So I think that's also a barrier for some people to come on board.
Yeah, actually.
And I hope you guys can fix that, because I hope you guys can. God will help you people.
Honestly, right?
Like we say in Nigeria.
We need.
Because I mean, I can't imagine you buying devices for 3 million. People.
It's not feasible.
I mean, unless if you want to, if I do the maths, let me say, even if you try
how much is a laptop now?
Even if you try to do it for $1, that's $3 million. so you gotta.
So one thing we have also,
even if you buy the laptop for $100, that's $300 million.
Oh my God, that's insane, right?
That's
we can't. That's how much is Nigeria's money right now.
Yeah,
I always tell people that 3MTT is a startup. Forget the fact that we're a startup that doesn't make money. We're a not-for-profit startup, right? I don't know, once the better term is found for it, like, yes, but we honestly are it's a partnerships game, right? Like, we can't do this alone.
We need more partners.
We need partners. We need people who are willing to come on board and see just how great this impact that we're really going about is. Like, we're not just trying to just train people and leave them. We're trying to change Nigeria fundamentally. We're trying to fix the mindset problem, fix the thinking problem, teach people how to fend for themselves, and also just change the way the trajectory of our nation is going, right? Because very soon, talent, in fact, if you think about it, what is the major export that Nigeria currently has? Is it oil?
Well,
I mean, aside oil, right? Like, the following oil, it's people.
Yeah.
We're exporting people.
Yeah, be it in through our music, be it through our
Exactly.
sports, be it through anything. Really.
And if we don't see that as a major win, if we don't see that as a strategy, an advantage that we have, we're going to sleep and the world will pass us by. I mean, nations, every few years, like, there's a new order of things, right? And we can't allow this current, like, trajectory. We're slowly coming back up. And we can't allow ourselves to go down quickly by not investing in our talents, right? It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the parable of the talent in the Bible, right? Where, like, those who talents, the one who had one talent just went and hid it and he kept it there. But the one who had 10, he invested, 5 rather, he invested in his talents and then doubled it. And it's the same principle, it's the same mentality. Invest in your talents. Like, yeah.
That's a nice pun there. That's a nice pun. I mean, I think generally you are actually solving a whole, like, the initiative, the 3MTT program is solving a whole lot of problems, even around youth unemployment, because we all know that is linked with a lot of insecurity, that is linked with a lot of socio-economic issues, that is linked with even the future of a nation. And I think you guys are really doing a great job there by trying to drive such an initiative, because the average age of an African is 19, right? So, like, what's the average age of people you find in this program currently?
So first off, we can't take anyone lower than 18 just because, like, you need, like, your NIN or your BVN.
Okay.
But so we usually, like, check by gender, and for age group, yes, it's between 26 to 35, right?
Really? 26 to 35?
Where we have currently about 58K people within that range, right? And that is, and for the larger range, and I think between 18 to 25, we have about 42K people. Okay. So, like, those are, like, numbers.
So is there a maximum age?
No.
That you can enter the program?
There's actually not. Like, between 36 to 45, we have about 6,000 people. About
how many?
6,000 people who are currently learning. I mean, it might seem like
that's quite impressive.
Yeah. So we have, I've seen daddies, like, people with children actually, like, go through, like, some of the tweets that we see at us, like, they're coming to the program and they're actually taking their courses and they're diligent at it, right? So, because they're looking for things to do. Right. Some people, this is how they are rediscovering themselves. This is a rebirth for them, right? Tech. They've always wondered, what's this tech thing? For free? Okay, let me try it. Let me register. Let me get in, right? And it's for us, it's like, I know there's no true thing that you can do that's for everybody. True. Right? But for us, we're not shutting people down based on age. We're not shutting people down based on their gender or their
religion.
Exactly, right. It's this opportunity is there. If you're invested in changing your life or investing in something different for yourself, take it, right? And then all we are doing is making sure that the learnings are available and everything that you need is there for you to equip yourself, right? And yeah, I mean, we're still working our way, we're reiterating, we're, building a stronger team, but it's happening and it's a slow and steady pace. Actually, no, it's a fast pace.
It's actually fast paced.
It's very fast paced because 2027 is the goal, right? We need to.
What does 2027 look like?
To train by 2027, we should have trained
3 million.
At least 3 million.
At least.
By that is our goal. A very ambitious goal. So
my God,
we cannot slow down. We have to keep going.
I won't lie. I'm quite excited to see the impact of this. Right from when it was announced by the Honorable Minister, I I began following the trend, began seeing it, because there were a lot of naysayers. There were a lot of people say, "What do you mean, talent? Like, is that what you're supposed to be talking about?" You know. But then again, I'm like, what should you be talking? what should you be talking about? But I mean, I think also with the youths looking forward to hope, some form of hope. I think having knowledge is even a starting point.
Yeah.
But I would also like to find out: have you found this program, like in terms of the number of people who have university degrees and number of people who don't, like within the program? Do you have people that have taken this like their own kind of university, and they are just like building a career out of it, saying that, you know what, I'm going to build my career, instead of me going to university, I'll most likely go to what do you call it?
3MTT.
Yeah.
So I'm
How have you been finding that?
So I am hoping that, you know, people are adding this to their current level of learning, not just foregoing one and taking the other. But it is true that people's approach to education is changing, right? In fact, if you look at the MIVA universities and there was one which recently just closed down, Kibo Schools, but she's also Ope Bukola. She's also one of our advisory board members. It's an alternative way of learning, right? And basically giving people like different ways that they can learn and apply themselves. Now, for our level of education, actually, we've had quite an interesting like spread. So I think over 50% of people have a bachelor's degree, and about 19% have like an OND, right, ordinary national diploma. And the people who don't have, very few people have master's degree actually. About 11K people have SSCEs, and like just that's the highest for them. And you know, some people, like about 15K, have HNDs, higher national like diplomas. So it's a very interesting spread, right? It's like 50% now is, with our total trained number, we're looking at about 50 something K. That's a large amount of people who have gone to universities and just are either doing something or the other, but they want to further their education, right? But I think a very interesting number for me is actually the people who don't have any forms of education, right? Like, it's a very, very slim. In fact, I don't think the data is like properly shown, right? But we do have people who have also gotten like masters, their PhDs, right? And that one is also a very small number. But like there's a very large spread, and it's very diverse. So you have people from different educational backgrounds, different like walks of life as well.
So, but are you seeing, for example, people within a program who have existing jobs, or people are mostly the people who do not have anything at all? What's like the data spread right now?
Yes. So for people who have had jobs in the past, employment status, I think we're looking at about 57%. Like, so for employment, right, we still have like a high amount of like people who are actually going through this because they don't have work jobs, right? And it's about, I think, 39% thereabouts. But then they're expecting that, you know, this would allow them position themselves. And we actually do like career readiness series, right? Where people, so on a weekly basis, we have like career readiness. So to help people prep for their career readiness, and it's live on our YouTube on it. So it's a weekly series that we do. And then we also have other webinars with like some of the operators in the ecosystem. But for like people who are students, we also have about 25K people who are about students who are taking the program. And then I think self-employed people who are business owners, we have about 16K already in total. So it's quite a number. For people who are fully employed full-time, the number is actually quite like low, right? But then some people might just feel like, you know, they don't want to put their true destiny, because what if I get a job here? They will not stop me. That's some of the sentiment. I remember one of the first times people had thought that 3 million technical talent, it means the government was giving everybody 3 million naira. And some people were saying you should have seen, like, that was some of the expectations that we saw. feedback that we got. So some people, once they realize, like, I was like, what is this? But it's very funny, right? And some people think that the jobs are a direct giving, like we're giving you jobs straight up. And
So employing them in the ministry.
it's not like that. But no, so we're trying to get that employment numbers up, especially post cohorts, right? So that's really like where we're heading towards.
Interesting. I mean, but what's something that gets you excited to work on this every day?
Me?
Yeah, what keeps you excited? I mean, you seem very happy.
Yeah, actually, I actually am. So for me personally, I think one of the core things that I've always said is that I want to be able to work. So I have three main pillars whenever I think about like projects and works that I want to do, right? And these are things that just guide me. So creativity, like sustainability and social impact.
Okay.
And 3MTT allows me to kind of check all those boxes, because then I get to apply my creativity, but also like the idea of the fact that I'm waking up and the work that I'm doing is able to help, like today, like 90K people, right, to go on their journey to changing their lives. It gives me so much joy, because then I'm not just looking at now, I'm looking at in the next 2 years, what is the direct impact that 3MTT is going to have on the country and on Nigeria? And when I was younger, my mom used to look at me and say, Aaliyah, please don't be an activist. I don't want to lose you. And it's just because like I was always so passionate about the fact that like there's so much going on and there's so much imbalance and injustice, right? It's like, how can we correct that? And being able to go through all that I've gone through in life to get me back to this point where it's like you're working. Yes, it's amazing for me. It's just like the sheer level of impact that 3MTC will have on Nigeria and by extension Africa, just if we're able to achieve what we want to achieve, is immense. And that is one of the things that keeps me excited. And every day, like, also, this is something that has never been done before. And the idea of novelty is something that excites me, because then, like, yes, I do have my own challenges and just trying to understand, like, the grandness of the plan. But every day getting to apply yourself and just, like, get better is definitely something that I think also just pushes me on a daily.
I mean, it's quite exciting to hear, because that means you're tap dancing to work.
Not all the time, though. Not all the time, but like, yeah, it means that like on good days, like I get to, revel in the greatness. On bad days, I get to
At least
remember.
it helps with the pain.
Yes.
It helps with the pain that comes with it.
Yes, actually. So it's definitely something that I would say is so far one of my favorite things that I have been involved with in a while. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're a creative now, so
in the blood. Yes, actually.
You're an artist. You're a comms person.
Yeah. So it's and I have worked on I've done so many things in the creative space. I mean, from music to the arts to my first love was photography. That was like the first thing ever that I played around with. And then like going from that and then doing like creative events. There was a while where like for 2 years straight, like every Sunday would host events for the creative economy here in Abuja. And it was interesting because I had just come back from uni and like I was like meeting new people and then working. Like I've actually had a very, very interesting because my NYSC as well was like something government driven as well. I served at the NSIA, like Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and it was like, okay. So I liked the idea of being able to work in a government organization, but not the one that makes you redundant, because I tried that one, it didn't work out well. So like not one that just you go and then you're just doing civil service, good morning sir, and go and sit down. That's not what I want. That's not what I want for my life. But like one that you're actually going and you're being held accountable for your work. That's something that's amazing.
I mean, that's very exciting. Like I said, you're tap dancing to work and you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it helps with the pain.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
I mean, so what's something, like anyone watching this, what are ways they could connect with the program or benefit from this program?
So you can reach out to us anywhere. So I think our social media is 3MTT Nigeria, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and LinkedIn. And you can also reach out to the ministry directly as well. You can also use our website 3mtt.nitda.gov.ng. So I'll take that again. 3mtt.nitda.gov.ng. And that's our website. It has all the information you need, the best ways to contact us and everything.
All right. Thank you so much, Aaliyah, for making our time.
Thank you too.
I really did enjoy this conversation, and it gave me a lot of hope in what is possible and what is coming out of the 3MTT program. And I pray that you guys, more grace, more wisdom.
Thank you. We're going to need it.
You are moving a whole lot of stuff at the same time. I don't know how you are going to do 90,000 in the next cohort. Communicating will be a hassle.
Internal comms alone is such a so you can imagine, but like it's
speaking to 9,000 people. Wow.
Yeah, it's insane, but we're getting there.
And checking in on them and ensuring they have like a personal touch.
Yeah. It's
God.
insane. But we also have we have our community managers who do the job for us as well in each state. I don't know if I mentioned.
Different community managers.
Yes, so each state has like community managers, and they're really the ones who are putting the program out there, right? And they're the ones who are doing the core job, because the central team we're kind of scattered around between Lagos and Abuja, but the community managers do the work. And they are amazing at it. God, like I don't know how we would go. There are some that someone said, my community manager is married to 3MTT because he lives, breathes 3MTT. Everything he does, 3MTT. And they are the ones who are really like motivating these fellows. But yeah.
What about people that want to reach out to you for like placements, who need these talents that you have?
Yes, so we do on our website, we have a placements page as well, but there's also like you can reach out to us directly as well. Like all the information is there on our website, but if you also need to like reach out to our team, you can also connect with me directly on LinkedIn.
We'll put it in the description.
Exactly, in the descriptions below. You know those things that people do, but yeah. So there are different ways. Like I said, we're very, very responsive, and we would be glad to like reach out and communicate with you and talk to you.
All right. So thank you so much, Aaliyah.
Thank you too.
Thank you for
My
making
pleasure. Thank you for having me, Elijah.
All the best, and keep tap dancing to work.
You too.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. It was pretty exciting, pretty educative about the work that they are doing to build Africa, and that's what basically our conversations here on Venture Valley is about: building Africa, helping build ventures. You can't build a venture from Africa without building the talent. Every organization runs on talent, the quality of people, and that's what this particular conversation was centered around, and that's what inspired it, because technical talent is one thing that is lacking. I get called every day. Oh, I need a graphic designer. Oh, I need a web developer. Oh, I need an AI engineer. And these people are actually doing it. So I'm sure if you enjoyed this, please share, like, comment, get other people to know about it, and spread the message, spread the news out there so that more people can get to benefit from this platform. Enjoy your week. See you in the next episode.